decided to make a video about, or to promote my new book, The Mannequin House, which is coming out soon, December 2012. So what I thought I'd do is ask people to send me questions through Twitter and Facebook, which I would try to answer in this video. So that's what I'm going to do. And the best question, in my view, I will be the judge. The best question will win a signed copy of the book, signed by me, of course, not by anybody. So I've got some great questions. I'm just going to go through the questions and try and think of some good answers, hopefully. The first question that came through was from Debbie Clark, and Debbie asked quite bluntly, is it any good? And then she added, joking Roger X. Yeah, it's obviously very difficult for the writer to sort of be objective about the books that they've written. All I can say is that I've written it to the best of my ability. I tried very hard to make it good, and I hope that people will enjoy it. And I certainly had a lot of fun writing it, so whether that means it's good or not, I don't know. But it is my hope that it is excellent, or as some some people might say, awesome. But I can't obviously be the judge. Peter Devenold has three questions, so he's tried to slip three questions in, presumably to increase his chances of winning the book. No, I did actually say it doesn't matter how many questions you ask. But Peter's asked some great questions. So, first question he asks is, "What's your favourite line in the new book?" Which is quite tricky, because I then, I haven't actually received my copy of the book yet, so I haven't had a chance to reread it, and it was several months ago when I finished it. But I do remember there's a few lines that I find that really appealed to me. There was a scene really between the hero, Silas Quinn, and the commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Force, who's called Sir Edward Henry, and they're talking about the previous case that Quinn investigated. He's kind of being hauled over the coals for this, and because the suspect was, as in a lot of the cases that Quinn investigates, the suspect ended up dying and being killed by Quinn, and this kind of happens too much, and the authorities are getting rather sort of cross about it, and Sir Edward Henry pulls him up on this and says, "Was it really necessary?" And Quinn says, "I beg your pardon, sir. Was it really necessary for him to die?" "Who, sir?" "Who? He asks who? The fellow you killed, that's who." "Ah, sir, it was a matter of self-defence." "He was naked and unarmed." Quinn appeared startled by this information. "I could not be sure, sir." So I just kind of quite like the way that sort of obliquely sort of mentions what had gone before and gives you a bit of a hint of Quinn's character. And perhaps quote one more line, which later on Sir Edward is sort of saying that the two sergeants who work under Quinn are just as bad, that they end up killing people as well, the men acting under his command. And Quinn says, "That's unkind, sir. Sergeant McAdam only once killed a suspect, and that was by accident. It was before he had fully got the hang of the motor car, sir. It wasn't his fault the fellow ran out in front of him." Which appeals to me again, because it's kind of just gives you sort of a little bit of the story told in a sort of quite lateral way. Peter's next question is, what was the first inspiration that led to the writing of the book? And a lot of people actually are asking me about the inspiration for the book, so maybe I should answer it all at once. I'd always wanted to write a book set in a department store for some reason. I don't know why. It just kind of appealed to me, this sort of world of the early department store, where kind of dreams seem to be on sale as much as sort of physical objects. And I think there's a book by Zola called The Lady's Paradise, which was recently televised on BBC, and the book had been a great inspiration to me. And also been inspired by the detective stories of G.K. Chesterton, Father Brown stories. So Peter's third question is, which character has most aspects of your personality? And I guess that must be Silas Quinn, really, the detective. Although I don't sort of go around accidentally killing people in the process of writing books, of doing my job. So maybe we are different. But I think the central character. I sort of put a certain amount of myself into that. Which, for anyone who's read the book or either of the books, would probably find that quite worrying. But next person to ask a question was Glenn Held, and Glenn says, "Are you worried that people won't be able to order it because they can't spell the word mannequin?" Well, Glenn, no, that hadn't occurred to me. Hopefully, I don't know. It's weird, the things that people think of are problems. So hopefully they will sort of just be able to spell R.N. Morris, and then that will come up on the internet that I've got a few books, and then they will find this one in the list. And or if they go into a bookshop and ask for it just verbally, hopefully no one will ask them to spell it. So I hope that won't be a problem. Annie Jackson says, "What inspired you to take on the world of Edwardian fashion?" Well, I think I may have slightly answered that question already in terms of Peter's question, but it's specifically Edwardian fashion. I don't know. Interestingly, my dad worked in the rag trade. That was his business. So I grew up with a kind of always having fashion. Clothes and that world around me. So so there may have been something there that drew me to the element of fashion in this. Again, another question. This one from Nessie Curtis about inspiration. Were you inspired by House of Eliot? And then she says in brackets, "Okay, that's definitely the stupidest question yet." Well, it's not really the stupidest question yet. Now, see, you're being a bit harsh on yourself there, but. I do remember watching House of Eliot when it used to be on, God knows how many years ago now, and secret guilty pleasure, I did used to enjoy it, particularly with a glass of sherry, so dry sherry it was. So yeah, I don't know, I suppose everything feeds into what we do. Next question is from Lisa Glass, and Lisa says, "How do you feel about this film?" And then she's put a link, a Wikipedia link, which obviously I can't do anything about, or maybe I will link to that. This film, it's called Mannequin, I think. It's a 1987 film. She said, "How do you feel about this film and the potential for its plot to be worked into a novel with an Edwardian setting?" Not quite sure what you're getting at there, Lisa. Are you saying that I stole my plot from a film I've never heard of? Mannequin is a 1987 romantic comedy fantasy film starring Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall, I think. See more. I don't really have any feelings about that film at all, so we'll just move on quickly from that. Billy Flynn asks, "Does it feature any S&M?" Well, Billy, yeah. I don't know why you would think that it would, but I suppose there is a very interesting central character, this guy Benjamin Blackley, who is certainly a bully, possibly a psychological sadist, if not the kind that you mean. And so power relationships and power dynamics between men and women are part of the story. So that's I know possibly that wasn't what you meant, but there are elements there that might be said to link to your fascination.